Hello, beautiful souls, and welcome back to the Beautifully Unfiltered podcast. How are you today? I hope you're doing well. And if you're going through a difficult season right now, please know you're not alone. Life isn't always easy, but no matter what you're facing, I hope somehow this episode brings you a little comfort, encouragement, and peace. Today's conversation is, you don't have to earn your worth. For anyone who has ever felt like they had to prove themselves, prove that they're good enough. Prove that they're lovable enough. Prove that they're successful enough. Prove that they deserve a place in someone's life. If that's you, I want you to stay with me for the next few minutes. Because maybe the reason you're so exhausted isn't because you're failing. Maybe you're exhausted because you've spent your whole life trying to earn something that was already yours, your worth. Somewhere along the way, many of us learned a dangerous lesson. We learned that love had to be earned. Maybe it happened when we were children. Maybe we received more praise when we achieved something. Maybe we felt more noticed when we behaved perfectly. Maybe we learned that being accepted meant becoming who others wanted us to be. And without realizing it, we carried that belief into adulthood. We began measuring our worth by our performance, by our appearance, by our achievements, by how many people liked us, by whether someone chose us, by whether someone stayed. And little by little, we started treating our value as something that could increase or decrease depending on other people's opinions. But here's the truth. Your worth is not a reward. It's not something you earn after becoming successful. It's not something you unlock after healing completely. It's not something you receive after finding the perfect relationship. Your worth exists simply because you exist. Think about how often we tie our value to outcomes. If someone loves us, we feel worthy. If someone leaves, we question ourselves. If we succeed, we feel important. If we fail, we feel small. If people praise us, we feel confident. If they criticize us, we start doubting everything. It's exhausting. Because when your self-worth depends on things outside of your control, your confidence becomes fragile. Every rejection feels personal. Every mistake feels permanent. Every setback feels like proof that you're not enough. But none of those things determine your value. They never did. Sometimes we think that if we can just become better, then we'll finally deserve love. So we work harder, give more, sacrifice more, stay silent more, accept less than we deserve. We become experts at earning approval. But in the process, we forget how to simply be ourselves. And that's one of the saddest things that can happen. When someone spends so much time becoming what everyone else wants that they lose sight of who they really are. The truth is, you can be incredibly kind and still be rejected. You can be loyal and still be left behind. You can have a beautiful heart and still be misunderstood. You can do everything right and still lose people. Because not every ending is a reflection of your worth. Sometimes people leave because of where they are in their own lives. Sometimes relationships end because two people are growing in different directions. Sometimes opportunities close because they're not meant for you. Not every closed door is a statement about your value. Sometimes it's simply redirection. I know that's difficult to believe when you're hurting, especially when someone you cared about walks away, especially when you weren't chosen, especially when your efforts weren't appreciated. The human heart naturally asks, what did I do wrong? What could I have done better? Why wasn't I enough? But maybe the better question is this: what if their decision says more about their journey than it does about your worth? What if you were never the problem? What if you don't need to carry every ending as evidence against yourself? Beautiful souls, there is a huge difference between growth and self-rejection. Growth says, I want to improve because I love myself. Self-rejection says, I need to improve before I'm allowed to love myself. One comes from compassion, the other comes from shame, and shame is a heavy thing to carry, because no matter how much you accomplish, it keeps moving the finish line. You get the promotion, still not enough, you lose the weight. Still not enough, you achieve a goal. Still not enough, you enter a relationship. Still not enough. Because the problem was never the achievement. The problem was believing your worth depended on it. Imagine speaking to yourself the way you would speak to someone you love. Imagine telling yourself, you are allowed to make mistakes. You are allowed to grow at your own pace. You are allowed to rest. You are allowed to be imperfect. You are worthy even on the days when you struggle. How different would your life feel? How much lighter would your heart become? One of the most healing things you'll ever learn is that your value remains constant. Not because you're perfect, not because you've figured everything out, but because being human doesn't require perfection. The sun doesn't earn the right to shine. Flowers don't earn the right to bloom. The ocean doesn't earn the right to exist. They simply do. And in the same way, your worth isn't something you achieve. It's something you already possess. There will always be people who don't understand you, people who underestimate you, people who fail to see your heart, and that's okay. Because your value is not determined by someone's ability to recognize it. A diamond remains valuable even if someone mistakes it for a stone, and you remain worthy even when someone fails to appreciate you. Never let another person's inability to see your value convince you that it isn't there. As you move forward in life, I hope you stop measuring your worth by who chooses you. I hope you stop measuring it by your productivity, by your appearance, by your accomplishments, by your failures, by your relationship status, or by anyone else's opinion, because none of those things define who you are. You are so much more than what you achieve. You are so much more than what you've lost. You are so much more than your mistakes. And you are so much more than your fears. If nobody has reminded you recently, let me remind you today, you do not have to earn your worth. You do not have to prove that you're lovable. You do not have to become someone else to deserve acceptance. You do not have to spend your life chasing validation. You are already enough, not someday, not when you achieve more, not when you become perfect. Now, exactly as you are. If this conversation touched your heart in any way, don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe for more real conversations about life, healing, growth, and self-worth. And if there's a topic you'd like me to talk about in a future episode, feel free to leave it in the comments below. I hope you'll carry this reminder with you throughout the week. Your worth is not something you earn. It's something you remember. And remember, no matter where you are in your journey, you deserve the same kindness and compassion that you so freely give to others. Take care of yourself, beautiful souls. Thank you so much for listening, and I'll see you in the next episode. This is Maya from Beautifully Unfiltered Podcast.